Occasionally there are men that, I talk to that I know, and I'll ask them, how's everything going? How's everything with your kids? And, they'll kind of look at me and they're, I'm fine, but, those aren't my kids. And I think we should talk about that. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. There are people that, no matter how old their kids get, they don't accept the fact that they are their children. And, there's, again, men that I've talked to over the years. And again, I say, how are the kids? And, and the kids are, probably grown. They are grown. They're older, so these are adult children. And, just checking in and see how those aren't my kids, well, they look just like you. Not really. I have a general face. They could be anybody's kids. I pay for them, but I don't really believe they're my kids. And on and on and on it goes. And we kind of, this conversation can circle the drain on how they're just not. They're dodging everything. It's like, they're in the matrix. Those ain't my kids, and it's just kind of like that thing where, I really do believe a large part of it is because, they haven't really owned up to the fact that they have responsibilities, they have family that is now tied to them. And there are people that just, like Ray J said, you can't tie me down. They don't want to be tied down to anyone or anything. And so what they will do is they will deny, deny, deny. They may take, certain responsibilities and they may even care for their children, but there's a certain aspect of them that just does not want to be tied to them. It's very similar to the concept. I had done a video some videos ago. It's been, I think it might have been even last year, where I talked about sometimes you can be in a relationship with someone, you could be in a relationship with them for years. You could have their children or be married, but that person doesn't feel like they're married to you. They don't feel like you guys are actually even in a relationship. You're just here for the moment. They're occupying their time with you until the next best thing comes along. You don't know that, but they know that. And this concept is very similar with children, where it's like, I'll talk to them, we'll kick it and stuff, but I don't really think they're mine. There also could be a whole lot of, for other people, there could be a whole lot of baggage that goes into that. There could be a lot of animosity, resentment, things that had to be done in order to get them on child support and things like that, where they felt like, it's not something I wanted, but it's something that I had to do, or there were legal ramifications. So there could be a lot of resentment, tied up into the legal ramifications. Like, if I ain't pay for them, I will go to jail type of stuff. And so there's that aspect. Another aspect of it, and again, this is not for everybody. I'm just tossing out scenarios that I've seen over the years. Another aspect of it could be, your parent is dealing with severe mental illness. I've seen this a lot with women, especially, who have children and who deny that those are their children. They'll say, I don't know you. It could get real ugly in terms of hostility and denial and hurtfulness. And so I've seen women who've had paranoid schizophrenia deal with it, and they may even become physical about it. Those aren't my kids, get away from me, that kind of stuff. And another aspect, again, like I said, there's people out here who consider themselves in their minds to be a free agent. They are not connected to anyone or anything. And so that's not an identity that resonates with them, is being a parent. But anyhow, let me know if you've ever seen or experienced this, where, you have someone tell you, those aren't my children. And, before it even gets out there, I want to apologize in advance if you or someone who's watching this, and that person happens to be your parent. So I apologize. This video is not meant to be offensive. It's not meant to hurt anybody, but mentioned to, it's really to bring awareness and start having conversations around these type of phenomenons that I've seen over the years. Thanks so much. And lastly, before I forget, there's another aspect to those aren't my children. And that happens when parents estrange themselves from their children. So estrangement, it works a little bit differently. At one point in time, typically, um, parents had a relationship that they had established with their children, and then what happens is they get pissed, they get into a fight, or they want to hurt their children. And so what they will do is they will cut their children out of their lives, and from that day forward, you are no longer a child of mine. And that's mostly meant with anger, resentment, and punitiveness. Like, I'm going to punish you, I'm going to banish you from my life. And so you are no longer a child of mine. If you write a letter, I'm going to have it sent back by the carrier. I'm not even going to open it. If you call me, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to block your number, or I'm going to change my number. Another aspect would be, if they see, if they go out with their friends, uh, or interact with the public, or, anybody really, from that day forward, they're going to minus you from the number of children that they have. So let's just say it's you and three other siblings. From that day forward, that they cut you off. Oh, I only have three children. So they refuse to acknowledge you. They have basically, killed you in their mind. And again, trigger warning for those who might be triggered listening to this. But, parents like this could be very cold, very cruel, and very hostile. Parents can also do this. I've talked quite a bit over the past few days about how how certain parents see their children as a check or as a tool for manipulation. They may do this until you prove yourself to be useful to them. So they find some sort of use for you. Either you're giving them money, they're living with you, they're giving them gifts and things like that. Um, I think a good example of something like this that has been very public, unfortunately, well, I won't even name names, but I'll get out of that. I'm gonna stay away from that. Uh, but there's been some public interactions where you've seen between a mother and her daughter, where the mother's talked about. You're no child of mine. You're a bitch. You're this. You're that. You were supposed to give me a car. You took your car. All this other kind of stuff. I expect my money from you. And, that mother just talks down and trashes her daughter. But, is the same kind. You're no daughter. She vacillates. She flip flops. Oh, I love you. You were supposed to give me this too. I hate you. You ain't nothing. You ain't no daughter of mine. That kind of stuff. And so you've seen this before on television, or even among some celebrities, where they once, parents will disown their children or cut them off or use this as a manipulation tool. Thanks so much. Hope this helps.